Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
All right. Good morning.
Hey, Bruce, good morning.
Hey, listen, I have heard all kinds of things about the whole amendment to the property taxes in Florida trying to abolish property taxes. And
It's a big topic.
and DeSantis was on national news talking about it.
Yes.
It's been a hot topic. And I have to tell you, as much as I'd like to have my taxes eliminated because I pay a ton of taxes for my primary residence,
Mhm.
I'm not so sure where this money's going to come from. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I'm going to tell you right now, I am not an absolute property tax expert. However, I am quickly becoming one because I'm a little fired up about it. And I've done a couple of videos so far on my YouTube channel. And the second one that I did has obviously struck in a nerve. I've gotten almost 30,000 views in a week, which is just well beyond anything I normally do.
Give our listeners that website so they can watch that too.
Yeah, so you just
All
go
right.
youtube.com/@Florida Real Estate Insider. And we can actually post a link to the video in here so that somebody can go straight to it. But the comments in that video are just insane. People are fired up on both sides, right? Like people are totally against it because they think it's a trick, right? They think that we're just going to shift taxes to them somewhere else and somehow, screw over the little guy. And then there's people that are all for it. There's, of course, the conspiracy theorists with all kinds of other things out there. And there's a real hard conversation about Florida Doge, right? Which is our Blaze Ingaglia, who is going after all these cities and counties. They've found almost $2 billion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse. $2 billion out of like 7 counties.
I don't know how anybody on any side of the parties that would be against trying to eliminate wasteful spending, right?
The only time that I can understand a little bit of conversation about is what exactly is wasteful, right? So, there's some things that are clearly obvious, and that's probably 90% of it. And then there's 10% where I was like, I think it's wasteful, you don't. Okay, well, we can have a conversation about that stuff. But the 90% is clearly wasteful, and we should eliminate it,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So I've got some questions for you about the whole homestead property tax abolition. So first of all, this is only on primary residences. Okay.
Yes,
That is the push.
Yeah, that is the push, right? To eliminate property taxes on homestead. So you still have secondary homes, rental properties, and commercial.
Right. Now,
which is about 60% of the overall.
Do you think that's going to raise the taxes on non-homesteaded properties where maybe landlords could have to raise their rents too high? Or these are things that are concerns with people.
I would be concerned about that as well, right? Because I have a number of rental properties. I know you do. And those, I already pay a lot of taxes on them. I pay more, honestly, I pay more property taxes on 3 of my rental properties each. Not together, each individually, than I do on my primary because of the homestead cap, right? The Save Our Homes cap. But no, every plan that has coverage has a cap on the counties actually being able to raise millage rates, right? Which is how they would do it. And also, Blaze Ingaglia, he has committed that any county or city that attempts to change their millage rates will get audited. So they're not saying you can't do it, but we're going to give you a doctor's examination to make sure that you need to.
Well, now you don't have the protection on your non-homesteaded properties like you do the 3% protection you do on homesteaded properties either.
You have 10%. You have 10% of assessment. The assessed value can increase by 10% annually. That's the max.
Right. That's the maximum, but that's a pretty big jump, wouldn't you say?
Right, but they can't raise the millage rate. So remember, the value of a property is going to go up based on time, right?
Right.
Because the dollar gets valued less. But
of course.
So that's the first thing. But what they can't do is change your millage rate. And the millage rate is the multiplier times your value that indicates how much you're going to pay.
Absolutely.
So they're not allowed to proactively raise rates.
Where do you think this money's going to come from? It's got to come from somewhere.
So they haven't nailed that down yet. And that's one of the big pieces of conversation, right? Is exactly where this money is going to come from. There's a ton of ideas floating out there. Most of them go around taxing the tourists, right? So you can do it in a blanket way where you just raise sales tax to some point, right? If Ron DeSantis gets his way and we eliminate all homestead taxes, so that would be ad valorem, right, which is by value,
yes,
including schools, right, including the school portion, and non-ad valorem, it's about a $43 billion shortfall that they would have to come up. In order to make sales tax alone cover that, it's an extra 6%. So we'd be at 12%.
Whoa.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So there has to be a combination thereof, right? So one of the ways is they're talking about adding fees to anything tourist related. So, think about your Disney, Universal tickets, air flights coming in, anything like that. If you just tack a small fee on, $2, $3 fee, nobody really sees that.
Being the devil's advocate, that sounds good when you say it fast, but we don't know how much that needs to be. Then is it going to affect our tourism? Because Florida's main economy is tourism. We don't want to do anything to affect or negatively affect our tourists.
No, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We don't want to do that. We get about 140 million visitors a year. And
but you're trying to fill a gap of, what do you say, 40 billion?
40 billion, 43 billion if they get rid of all of it. If HJR 201, which is, there's competing bills, right, that are in the committee right now. And HJR 201 is the one that is kind of leading the pack, like most people, or more people are behind it than the other ones. It doesn't eliminate the school portion. It only eliminates the non-school portion. So now you're only talking about 18 billion. So it's a little bit less. It's a little bit less of a hole to fill. The problem is what that does is it leaves behind the essence of why Ron DeSantis wants to get rid of it, right? He wants to get rid of it because people are hogtied by the government to pay that fee. Now,
you and I own home from the government, essentially, when they have these extortionary taxes that they're paying. And
that's right.
When people are struggling based on affordability that we're all dealing with right now, whether you believe that term or not, we still feel it at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
No matter how it came, no matter how we got it, we can blame one party or the other. Makes no difference. It's there. And it's something we have to contend with. So,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just am really struggling with trying to wrap my head around where all this money's going to come from. So even if we just start with homesteaded properties and we don't eliminate the school ad valorem, maybe that's the start.
$18 billion shortfall. And, the majority of that can be made up, again, the small fees and possibly an increase 1 or 2% into sales tax, which sales tax heavily affects everyone, but it also will collect a lot of money from tourists, and as much as everybody has said, there's been a lot of things. If you think about the last 5 years, right, of Ron DeSantis being the governor, there's been a lot of talk about he's going to kill the tourism industry. And what has happened with not Orlando, with Florida?
The opposite.
It's through the freaking roof, right? It's through the roof. And so I'm not going to say it can't be killed.
And he doesn't want to do anything to kill tourism, and he's not going to do anything to kill tourism. That would be deadly for him. You can't kill the main product that we have here in Florida.
You can't kill the golden goose, man. I mean, without tourism, without 140 million people visit, we'd have to pay income tax, and that would suck.
Yeah, and he's not up for that either, because that's one of our main lures to bring these blue states in here that don't want to pay the taxes and don't want to live.
And by the way, just so and so everybody, I know you probably know this, but just so everybody knows this, no state income tax is on the Florida Constitution. It is constitutionally illegal to have an income tax. The only way we can have one is if 60% of the voters vote for it on a ballot.
Well, even on this vote, you're going to need, that's a super vote. So you're going to have
a super majority. Yeah. For any constitutional amendment, we need 60% super majority.
And so you got to get it. That's not easy. Do you know what the numbers are looking like right now, or is it too premature to determine?
I think it's a little bit too premature because, there's no actual resolution that's been put forward. So there's a lot of resolutions that are talked about. There's a lot of things that are in this select committee. I believe it's January, and I do have to get a timeline for this together, but I believe it's January where this is going to be kind of come to a head as far as the committee goes, and then it's going to go to the votes to see what we're going to put on the ballot ultimately.
Yeah. I think it's too early. And I think right now, this is mostly open dialogue to where we can come up with solutions. We can poke holes in it, which is what we should all be doing anyway. So let's poke holes in it. Let's find the solution. And maybe it will work. I don't know. I'm certainly for it, provided that I'm just not taking money out of one pocket, then replacing it with something else.
Well,
Because
here's
that's
two
what
reasons I'm
concerns
for it
me.
no matter what. I'm going to tell you two main reasons that I'm for it no matter what. And they both impact you and I, it being in the real estate industry, okay? But they really impact people more than you and I, right?
Yes.
So the number one thing is seniors, right? Older folks that live here in Florida, that is their primary residence, and they've been here 10, 20, 30 years, right? Paying their taxes, they're on a fixed income. I see all the time them getting evicted by the government because they can't pay the taxes anymore. Their taxes went from 3,000 to 8,000, and it's taking up all of their income, right?
Yeah.
So that's horrible. The
Yes.
other thing that I see that happens way too often, and I know you see this every day, is younger people can't qualify for freaking mortgages, right? Because the payment is higher because, you know, the interest rates are a little high and prices are a little high. But then you add taxes and insurance on top, and they're just completely out of the market. You know, it's killing them by $100,000 on average of buying power.
I agree with that. And I do think that the interest rates where they are right now would be less of a concern if we did have
100%.
lower taxes and lower insurance.
Absolutely. Now, insurance is a whole different animal. We can have
Yes.
another
We
conversation
will
about
have
that.
another one on that.
But
Yes.
we have some control over taxes, right? So at a minimum, reducing those taxes. By the way, if we eliminate the non-school taxes, it's about 50 to 60% of the overall tax. So if your bill today is $8,000, it goes down to probably 4, maybe a
Right.
little less.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's real money.
And if you can
You know?
eliminate the school ad valorem,
Now it's
that's,
even better.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well,
you know, and that's the thing is, you know, you look at affordability, right? And that's one of the places that we can actually make a real impact on affordability without screwing over the current homeowners and
I
actually helping
agree.
the current.
Well,
You know.
listen, I'd like everybody to go to the website. We're linking it below, and share your comments. Poke holes in it. What do you think is positive about it? What do you think maybe negative impacts? What do you like, don't like? What are your concerns about it? But I think we need to have more dialogue on that. And Tom, I appreciate you doing all the research on this. It is definitely something that could change the whole real estate dynamic and the affordability that we're dealing with now in the state of Florida and across the country. But let's just deal with Florida right now.
Hey, we might be the first state to eliminate property taxes for homestead residents. So
Well, I can tell you one thing, people follow Florida and they like what we do here.
I know in Texas are trying it too. So
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks. Have a great week. The weekend started off, the bond market's off by a little bit right now, about 16 basis points. We are definitely going to have a Fed cut on Wednesday. I'm giving it a guarantee as far as I'm concerned, at least a 25% cut. Be
100%.
cautious. That does not mean interest rates will get better for mortgages. So
No, probably
be
not.
aware. And thanks. And don't forget to log in to Tom's website and make a comment. Let us know what you think. Have a great day, Tom.
You got it, man. Have a great one.